ziua, doamnelor și domnilor, bine ați venit la Ministerul Afacerilor Externe. Urmează declarații de presă susținute de către ministrul Afacerilor Externe al României, doamna Luminița Odobescu, și ministrul Afacerilor Externe al Republicii Chile, Alberto van Klaveren Stork. Excelența voastră, doamnă ministru Odobescu, aveți cuvântul.
Your Excellency, Mrs. Odobescu, you have the floor. Good morning. With the permission of the Minister, on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I would like to start by conveying condolences to the families of those deceased in the Crevedia explosion, and we wish quick recovery to the injured. Our thoughts go to them and their families in these difficult moments. I would also like to thank all our partners that took patients from Romania under the Civil Protection Facility of the European Union, Belgium, Italy, Austria, Germany, and Norway, but also other partners that showed open to help. Minister, ladies and gentlemen, these days I have the pleasure to be the host of the Chilean diplomacy, Mr. Alberto van Klaveren Stork, an old and good friend of Romania. I would like to take this opportunity to express once again the deeper appreciation for the participation of the Minister as speaker at this year's edition of the annual reunion of the Romanian diplomacy that will start tomorrow. It's the first time in the history of the annual reunions of the diplomacy when we have a guest from Latin America. And I'm happy it's you, and I would like to thank you for effort to coming here to Bucharest to be with us. This year, Latin America, and particularly Chile, were a priority on the political and diplomatic agenda of Romania and of the EU. I would like to note the dynamic, but especially the substance of the dialogue between our countries, which had its high point with the official visit of the President of Klaus Iohannis in the Republic of Chile in April. This was part of a regional tournament that was a premiere in the last decade, and which included Brazil and Argentina. As the President said, the relationship between our country is long-standing and characterized by mutual respect and trust. And there are promising perspectives to extend our bilateral relations on several levels that we will deepen today together. Even though geographically we are far apart, we are close when it comes to our vision and approaches. Today we had an exchange of information and assessment with regards to the most recent developments at global regional level, as well as an assessment of the topics and bilateral cooperation projects, especially given the celebration of 100 years of diplomatic relations in 2025. I'm talking about the economic sector, investments, mining, new technologies, civil protection, research and education. We've talked also about the results of the EU-CELAC summit in Brussels, the first of this type in the last 8 years. We were fully convergent in saying that it is the strategic interest of both continents to have bi-regional partnership that is honest, solid, and focused on common priorities like green transition, economic growth, sustainable economic growth, climate changes, but also the defense of the global order, focus on the principle of the UN Charter. We are two states with a policy that is deeply rooted in the universal values of the human rights. This is why we take opportunity of the presence of the ministers as a well-known expert in international law to exchange evaluation about the best ways in which we can defend the universal principles and values that are now facing major challenges at global level. We will continue the discussions today and also tomorrow with my other colleagues. And of course, we will talk about topics like regional security close to Romania with a focus on the war in Ukraine and the situation in the Republic of Moldova. I will present in detail to the Minister the current topic and the priorities for Romania after the discussions of the two presidents in Santiago de Chile in April. I will speak about the main elements of our country's contribution in supporting Ukraine and the Republic of Moldova. I reiterate the exceptional efforts made by the Romanian authorities to mitigate the food and energy crisis caused by the illegal war of Russia against Ukraine. I want to say very clearly that Romania appreciates and welcomes the solidarity of Chile when facing such challenges. Minister and our friend and colleague has shared with us his position and his evaluation on the global topic and also regarding to the Latin American agenda, focusing especially on sustainable economic growth, fighting climate changes and strengthening democracy. Minister, thank you once again for your visit here in Bucharest, which honors us and honors our entire diplomacy. You have the floor.
Let me convey the condolences of the Chilean government for the tragedy which occurred yesterday and express our most sincere wishes that those heroic rescue workers which were affected by that accident could recover. Let me also, Minister, thank you very much for your kind invitation, in the first place to visit this great country, and in the second place also for participating in the Day of Diplomacy, the meeting of the Romanian ambassadors and other representatives abroad, which will take place tomorrow. Really, it's an honor for me to receive this invitation, and I think that invitation reflects the excellent level of our bilateral ties. We have been developing very important bilateral relations. This year, last April, we had the pleasure and the honor to receive President Iohannis in our country. He was received by President Gabriel Boric, which sent again the Romanian government his greetings. And it was also a pleasure to receive now Minister Odobescu. I think both visits reflect the history of our bilateral relations and also the future of our bilateral relations. In terms of history, there are two landmarks which have been very important in our bilateral relations. In the first place, the role which a Chilean representative played many years ago in very dark times during the Second World War, helping many people who were persecuted by the German occupation to find security in our country. His name is Samuel del Campo, and tomorrow we are going to pay tribute to his legacy. In the second place, I would like to thank the solidarity which Romania granted to so many Chileans during our dark times during the dictatorship of General Pinochet. Many Chileans settled in this country, and they are an important element in terms of our bilateral relations. And it's not a coincidence that one of the topics we are dealing with in our meetings has to do with human rights. Both Chile and Romania are part right now of the Council of Human Rights, and our representatives in Geneva are collaborating and are supporting common positions with respect to many issues which are being dealt with by the Council of Human Rights in Geneva. We have also expressed our interest in multilateralism. Unfortunately, some of the developments which have taken place during the last years and months do not bode well for multilateralism. However, there are some achievements, and some very important achievements in terms of multilateralism, and I would like to highlight one of those achievements, which is the adoption of the BBNJ, the agreement within the framework of the United Nations Convention of Law of the Sea, in which both Romania and Chile actively participate. It's an agreement on the protection of biodiversity in the high seas, in those areas which are beyond the national jurisdiction in terms of maritime areas of our countries and of all the countries in the world. That's a very important achievement. Chile is developing a very active policy in terms of the governance of the oceans worldwide, and that's also one of the reasons why we presented the candidacy of our main port as for the secretariat of that new convention once that it gets into force. We have also a great interest in feminist foreign policy. We value very much the presence of a woman foreign minister, very able foreign minister with a very long experience in one of the most important subjects for Romania, which is European affairs. And also, speaking of the European Union, we are very grateful for the support which Romania has granted for the new framework agreement which we have successfully negotiated with the European Union. I think that the relation between Chile and the European Union reflects the potential of relations between the European Union and Latin America in general. We're very happy for the conclusion of this agreement, and we very much hope that we are going to be able to sign that agreement still during the present presidency, the Spanish presidency, probably in November of this year. It's a very innovative agreement. It's a very interesting agreement. It's one of the most advanced agreements negotiated both by my country and also, I think, by the European Union. And another topic which we are going to deal on this occasion is obviously the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Boric has been very clear in terms of expressing his deep concern on the Russian aggression to a sovereign country like Ukraine. we think that this war of aggression violates basic principles of international law, starting by the principle of the proscription of the use of force, and also affecting other very basic principles of international law. And precisely because of our concern for the situation in Ukraine, we are also going to take advantage of this visit in order to visit a refugee center here in Bucharest, which hosts many Ukrainian refugees. And we value very much the solidarity which Romania has granted to those refugees, obviously with the support of the High Commissioner, the Office of the High Commissioner for Refugees of the United Nations, and also the European Union. We have the opportunity to meet some of those refugees and also to exchange experiences with the person who is in charge of that camp, of that center, which happens to be a Chilean national, Mr. Zapata. So again, thank you very much, Minister, for this very warm welcome, and I reiterate how happy we are to be here. Thanks.
Vă mulțumim. Declarațiile au luat sfârșit.